Stellar classroom.
Maya Daniels smoothed down her charcoal gray blazer for the third time as the elevator climbed toward the top floor of the gleaming Nebula Technologies headquarters. Her interview portfolio felt unnecessarily heavy in her trembling hands. After 15 years teaching astronomy at prestigious universities, applying for a corporate position felt like admitting defeat. Budget cuts, the dean had explained with practiced sympathy while informing her that her department was being restructured. 3 weeks later, Maya found herself pursuing this position as chief educational consultant at the mysterious Nebula Technologies, a company that had revolutionized deep space communications in just 5 years. The elevator chimed softly as it reached the 70th floor. Maya took a deep breath, squared her shoulders, and stepped into a reception area that immediately took her breath away. The entire wall behind the reception desk was a massive window offering a panoramic view of the city skyline. But above it, through a transparent ceiling, was an unobstructed view of the morning sky. "Professor Daniels?" A friendly-looking woman approached. "I'm Layla, head of human resources. We're delighted you could come in today." "Thank you for the opportunity," Maya replied, her voice steadier than she felt. As Layla led her through the office space, Maya couldn't help noticing the diverse workforce. Humans of various ethnicities worked alongside a handful of beings she recognized as Proximans, one of the 3 alien species that had established diplomatic relations with Earth over the past decade. "Our CEO is particularly excited to meet you," Layla mentioned as they approached a frosted glass door. "She personally requested your application when she heard you might be available." Maya frowned slightly. "That's unexpected. I don't believe I've had any contact with Nebula Technologies before." Layla smiled mysteriously as she knocked on the door. "She'll explain everything." The door slid open silently, revealing a spacious office dominated by holographic star charts and astronomical models floating in the air. Floor-to-ceiling windows offered the same spectacular view as the reception area, but above it, through a transparent ceiling, was an unobstructed view of the morning sky. Maya's attention was so captured by the stunning office that she almost didn't notice the figure rising from behind the desk. When she did, she froze in place, her portfolio nearly slipping from her fingers. The Proximan woman approaching her was instantly recognizable despite the 7 years that had passed. Lavender-purple skin that seemed to shimmer slightly in the sunlight. Striking violet eyes with vertical pupils that dilated with emotion. Dark hair that fell in waves to her shoulders, adorned with what appeared to be tiny crystals that caught the light. "Professor Daniels?" the woman said, her voice melodious with the distinctive harmonic undertones of Proximan speech. "It's been a long time." "Zara," Maya whispered, her mind struggling to reconcile the former student with the confident CEO standing before her. Zara's mouth curved into a smile that revealed teeth slightly more luminescent than human ones. "You remember me. I'm flattered." "Of course I remember you. You were the first Proximan exchange student in our astronomy program. Your thesis on interstellar communication possibilities was groundbreaking." "Thanks to your mentorship," Zara gestured to the sitting area near the windows. "Please, let's talk somewhere more comfortable. Layla, could you bring us some tea?" As Layla departed, Maya followed Zara to a pair of ergonomic chairs separated by a small table embedded with what appeared to be star charts under its glass surface. "I have to admit," Maya said carefully, "when I applied to Nebula Technologies, I had no idea you were the CEO." Zara settled into her chair with fluid grace. "We've kept my identity relatively private. Corporate xenophobia is still an unfortunate reality on Earth." She leaned forward, those remarkable violet eyes studying Maya intently. "But I've followed your career since you left my classroom, Professor Daniels. Your research on gravitational communication methods inspired much of Nebula's early work. Maya felt a curious warmth spread through her chest at the realization that this brilliant former student had been tracking her academic contributions. I'm honored, though it seems my university didn't value that research as much as you did. Their short-sightedness is my good fortune, Zara replied. The position we're discussing isn't merely for an educational consultant, Professor Daniels. I want you to head our new research and development division, focusing specifically on gravitational wave applications for interstellar communications. A soft chime announced Layla's return with a tray holding an elegant teapot and 2 cups. As she poured, Maya noticed the liquid shimmered with subtle iridescence. Proximine tea, a rare luxury on Earth. After Layla departed, Maya took a sip, savoring the complex flavors that seemed to evoke starlight and distant horizons. You could have reached out directly if you wanted my input on your research, Maya said. Zara's gaze dropped momentarily, a gesture Maya remembered as indicating mild embarrassment in Proximine body language. I considered it many times, but our last interaction was complicated. The memory surfaced immediately. The night before graduation 7 years ago, when Zara had come to her office. The conversation that had veered dangerously close to territory inappropriate for a teacher and student, filled with unspoken emotions and carefully maintained boundaries. That was a long time ago, Maya said softly. You were my student. I had responsibilities. And now you're not, Zara replied, her voice equally quiet but filled with unmistakable meaning. And I'm offering you the chance to continue the research that your university abandoned, with resources beyond anything academia could provide. Maya looked around the office at the holographic models of star systems and communication arrays, evidence of the remarkable success this former student had achieved. Why me, Zara? There are dozens of physicists with more recent publications on gravitational communication. Zara set down her teacup, the movement deliberate and graceful. Because no one understands the stars like you do, Professor. You taught me to see the universe not just as a physicist, but as an explorer, a dreamer. She paused, something vulnerable flickering in her otherworldly eyes. And because I've never met, human or Proximine, who shares my vision of connecting our worlds the way you do. The sincerity in her voice resonated in a way Maya hadn't experienced in years. After 10.5 years of fighting for research funding and watching her department slowly shrink, here was someone who not only understood her work, but valued it enough to build an entire company partially inspired by her theories. When would you need my decision? Maya asked, already knowing in her heart what her answer would be. The position is yours whenever you want it, though I hope you'll consider starting soon. The stars are waiting for us, Professor Daniels. She extended her hand across the table, a human gesture she must have adopted during her time on Earth. Maya hesitated only briefly before reaching out to take it. The touch of Zara's purple skin was cooler than a human's, with a subtle texture like finest silk. The contact sent an unexpected shiver up her arm that had nothing to do with temperature. Please, Maya said as their hands remained connected a moment longer than strictly professional. If we're going to work together, call me Maya. Zara's smile brightened the room like distant starlight. Maya then, welcome to Nebula Technologies. I believe this is the beginning of something extraordinary. Looking into those violet eyes that once gazed at her from the back row of her lecture hall, Maya couldn't help but agree.
Maya straightened, turning to find Zara much closer than expected. Those remarkable violet eyes studied her with an intensity that made her breath catch. I hope this isn't inappropriate, Zara said softly, but there's something I need to ask you. Maya nodded, finding herself unable to look away from that gaze. 7 years ago, the night before graduation, I came to your office, Zara began, her normally confident voice carrying a hint of vulnerability. We talked about my future, about possible research paths, and there was a moment when you stepped closer, Maya finished for her, the memory crystal clear despite the years between. Yes, Zara acknowledged. I never knew if you moved away because you didn't feel what I felt, or because of professional boundaries. The directness of the question was characteristic of Proximan culture, which valued emotional clarity over the ambiguity humans often maintained. Maya found herself appreciating that directness now, though it left nowhere to hide. It was boundaries, she admitted quietly. You were my student, Zara. Regardless of what I might have felt, acting on it would have been an abuse of my position. And now? Zara asked, her purple skin seeming to shimmer slightly with emotional intensity. A Proximan physiological response Maya remembered from her xenobiology studies. I'm no longer your student. I'm not even human. Does this make this more complicated or less? Maya considered the question carefully, aware of the weight this moment carried. The professional dynamic has reversed. You're technically my employer now. That creates its own complications. I can address that, Zara replied without hesitation. Your position could report directly to the board rather than to me, eliminating any conflict of interest. The immediate solution, clearly considered in advance, made Maya smile despite her nervousness. You thought this through. I've had 7 years to think about it, Zara admitted, though I never truly expected to have this conversation. The honesty in Zara's voice broke through Maya's last hesitations. The night you came to my office, she said softly, after you left, I sat there for hours questioning my decision, not because it was wrong professionally, but because walking away from that moment felt like walking away from something significant. Zara moved closer, her cool fingers tentatively reaching for Maya's hand. And now? The touch sent a gentle current through Maya's skin. The subtle bioelectricity that Proximans naturally generated created a physical connection unlike anything she'd experienced with another human. I'm standing beneath the stars with someone who built an entire company, partially inspired by my theoretical work. Someone who remembers constellation stories I shared 7 years ago. Someone who sees value in my work when my own institution didn't. She took a deep breath. How could I not be drawn to that? Zara's free hand rose to gently trace the contour of Maya's cheek, a Proximan gesture of profound affection. May I? Maya nodded, her heart racing as Zara leaned forward. The touch was gentle, explorative, cool lips against warm, an exchange of breath between beings evolved under different stars, yet finding unexpected harmony. When they parted, Maya found herself slightly breathless. That was the beginning of something extraordinary, Zara finished, echoing her words from their first meeting, with a smile that reflected starlight. If you're willing to explore it with me. Above them, the endless cosmos stretched in silent witness, the same stars that had presided over their first meeting in a university classroom, now illuminating a connection neither had fully forgotten in the years between. I am, Maya whispered, her hand still intertwined with Zara's, though we should probably establish some new professional boundaries first. Zara's laugh was musical, carrying the harmonic qualities unique to her species. Always the professor, she teased gently, insisting on proper protocols. Some habits are worth keeping, Maya replied with a smile. Others, perhaps, were meant to be reimagined. As Zara drew her close again, Maya realized that sometimes the most unexpected trajectories led to the most wondrous discoveries in astronomy and in life. Solar flare. 6 weeks into her tenure at Nebula Technologies, Maya found herself in a rhythm that blended professional fulfillment and personal happiness in ways she hadn't experienced before. Mornings were dedicated to research with the brilliant team Zara had assembled, afternoons to practical applications of her theoretical work, and evenings were to explore the remarkable connection that had blossomed between them. Today, however, that rhythm was disrupted by urgent messages summoning her to Zara's office. She arrived to find her girlfriend, partner, the terminology seemed inadequate, engaged in intense conversation with Nebula's legal team. "Maya, thank you for coming quickly," Zara said, her usual composure strained. The patterns beneath her purple skin, pulsed in the configuration Maya had learned, indicated significant stress. "We have a situation." Elias Chen, the research director, brought a tablet to display headlines from several technology news outlets. Celestial Communications accuses Nebula Technologies of patent theft. Alien technology appropriation allegations rock communication industry. Are Proximans stealing human innovation? Senate committee to investigate. Celestial Communications? Maya asked, scanning the articles. "I've never heard of them." 3-person startup founded 6 months ago. No actual products, no research publications. They filed a suspiciously broad patent application just days after your gravitational tunneling integration was announced internally. Industrial espionage? Maya suggested. Worse, Zara said, her voice tightly controlled. Xenophobic opportunism. Their CEO, Richard Harlow, has connections to Earth First groups. They're claiming all Proximan communication technology derives from stolen human innovation. I felt a surge of protective anger. That's absurd. Proximan phase locking has no parallel in human development. Facts are irrelevant to their strategy, Elias said grimly. They're leveraging anti-alien sentiment to pressure the Commerce Department into freezing our patents pending investigation, which would delay our integrated array launch by months, if not years, Zara added, her frustration evident in the accelerating patterns beneath her skin, giving Celestial time to develop inferior technology based on our research. Maya moved to Zara's side, placing her hand on her arm in a gesture of support that wasn't lost on the others. Their relationship, while not hidden, had been kept professionally discreet within the company. "What's our response?" Maya asked. "The legal team is preparing counter-filings," Zara explained, visibly calming at Maya's touch. "But Celestial has already launched a media campaign, questioning whether humans should trust alien-controlled communication systems. We need a human face to counter their narrative," the PR director suggested, looking meaningfully at Maya. "They want me as a shield," Maya realized, meeting Zara's troubled gaze. "I won't ask that of you," Zara replied firmly. "Becoming the public face of this controversy could affect your academic standing." I would almost laugh. My former university already made its choice. I've made mine. She turned to the PR team. "Schedule whatever interviews you need. I'll explain exactly why human Proximan collaboration represents the future of astronomical communication." The meeting continued with strategy discussions, but Maya noticed Zara growing increasingly withdrawn. When the others finally departed, leaving them alone in the spacious office, Zara moved to the window overlooking the city. "I should have anticipated this," she said quietly. "Earth First groups have been gaining political influence. Our success makes us a visible target." Maya joined her at the window. You can't let fear of xenophobia dictate your company's direction. It's not just the company I'm concerned about, Zara replied, turning to face her. The vulnerability in those violet eyes made Maya's heart ache. This controversy will inevitably expose our relationship. They'll use it against us, claim you've been manipulated, question your scientific objectivity. Let them, Maya said firmly.
You never returned to Proxima after graduation. Most exchange students go back after completing their Earth education. Zara's expression grew contemplative. I considered it. My family expected it. She paused, swirling the iridescent liquid in her glass. But Earth offered opportunities that Proxima couldn't. Less hierarchy, more room for innovation. Her violet eyes met Maya's. And I had unfinished business here. Something in her tone made Maya's pulse quicken slightly. Nebula Technologies? Among other things, Zara replied, with a smile that suggested layers of meaning. Establishing the company was challenging. Many investors were reluctant to back an alien-founded startup regardless of the technology's promise. Yet you succeeded spectacularly. Your communication satellites have revolutionized deep space monitoring. We've only scratched the surface. Zara leaned forward, her enthusiasm evident. With our gravitational tunneling approach integrated into our next-generation array, we could establish real-time communication with the Proxima system. She hesitated, then added more softly, "It would change everything, Maya. Not just scientifically, but culturally. Imagine what our worlds could share if distance was no longer a barrier." The passion in Zara's voice was captivating. Maya found herself studying the face across from her, familiar yet transformed by the years since they'd last worked together. The promising student had become a visionary leader, but Maya could still see traces of the eager young Proxima who had stayed after class to debate theoretical physics until campus security reminded them of closing hours. "You always did think on a galactic scale," Maya said, with fond recollection. "I remember your graduation thesis presentation. You mapped potential communication points between star systems when most students were focused on simple satellite improvements." "You were the only faculty member who didn't think I was being unnecessarily ambitious," Maya replied, her expression softening with the memory. "You told me that reaching for the impossible was the only way to discover new possibilities." "I said that?" Maya laughed softly. "Sounds rather poetic for an astronomy professor." "You were different from the other professors. You saw potential where others saw impracticality. You believed in me when others viewed me as just another Proxima novelty on campus. Do you know why I specifically requested you for this position, Maya?" The use of her first name, spoken with such gentle intimacy, created a moment of tension between them. Maya found herself holding her breath, unsure of what might follow. "Because I've spent 7 years building something worthy of showing you, something that would prove your faith in me was not misplaced." The admission, simple yet profound, caught Maya off guard. She had mentored hundreds of students throughout her career, but none had carried her influence forward quite like this. "You didn't need to prove anything to me, Zara. Your success speaks for itself." "Perhaps," Zara acknowledged with a slight tilt of her head, a Proximan gesture indicating personal reflection. "But having you here, seeing your reaction to what we've built, it matters to me. More than I probably should admit as your employer." The comment hung between them, laden with implications neither seemed ready to address directly. Maya was saved from formulating a response by the chime of Zara's communication device. "The board meeting," Zara sighed, checking the notification. "I'm afraid I need to go." She rose with fluid grace. "Would you join me for dinner tonight? There's a private observatory on the building's roof. We could discuss the integration timeline in more detail." "I'd like that," Maya replied, surprised by how much she meant it. As she watched Zara depart, Maya wondered what she was getting herself into. The professional opportunity was unparalleled, but the way her heart had quickened at Zara's invitation suggested complications she hadn't anticipated when accepting this position. The student she had once maintained careful boundaries with was now her employer, a respected industry leader, and undeniably still the most fascinating individual, human or Proxima, she had ever met. Part 3. Gravitational Pull. The rooftop observatory of Nebula Technologies transformed at night. Glass panels retracted to reveal an unobstructed view of the star-filled sky, while subtle lighting illuminated the pathways between advanced telescopes and comfortable seating areas. Maya stepped from the elevator into this astronomical sanctuary, momentarily breathless at the beauty of the setup. "Do you approve?" Zara's voice came from near a particularly impressive telescope positioned at the observation center. "It's magnificent," Maya replied honestly, approaching her host. "Most universities would sacrifice their entire endowment for equipment like this." "A corporate indulgence," Zara admitted with a slight smile, "though I justify it as research adjacent." She gestured toward a table set for dinner under a transparent dome. "Hungry?" The meal was exquisite, Earth cuisine prepared with occasional proximate influences. As they ate, conversation flowed easily between technical discussions about the communication array project and more personal reminiscences about their shared past. "Do you remember the night of the meteor shower, when you organized the viewing party on the university observatory roof?" Maya smiled at the memory. "The Perseids, half the astronomy department showed up. And you pointed out constellations that weren't in any of our textbooks, folk patterns from different cultures that told stories about the same stars." "You remember that?" Maya asked, surprised by the specific detail. Zara's expression softened. "I remember everything about those nights, Maya. They shaped my understanding of what astronomical study could be, not just mathematics and physics, but connection to something greater." She hesitated, then added more quietly, "Those were the moments I realized teaching wasn't just your profession, it was your calling." The sincerity in Zara's voice touched something deep within Maya. "I did love teaching. Even with the budget cuts and academic politics, connecting students to the cosmos always felt meaningful. Yet your university failed to recognize your value," Zara observed with a hint of protective anger. Their short-sightedness was unforgivable. "Universities are businesses now. My research wasn't bringing in grants, and theoretical astronomy doesn't attract donors like applied sciences. Their loss is definitively my gain. Though I confess I followed your career with some frustration, watching your brilliance constrained by institutional limitations." "You've been following my work all this time?" Maya asked, caught off guard. "More closely than professional curiosity would justify." The statement hung between them, laden with implications neither had directly addressed since Maya's arrival. After a moment of charged silence, Zara stood and gestured toward the large telescope. "I've calibrated it for tonight. Would you like to see?" Grateful for the slight shift in conversation, Maya joined Zara at the telescope. As she leaned forward to look through the eyepiece, she felt Zara's presence close behind her, not touching, but near enough that she was acutely aware of her former student's proximity. "That's Proxima Centauri," Maya said, recognizing the red dwarf star instantly. "Your home system?" "Yes," Zara confirmed, "specifically aligned to show the habitation ring where I was born." Maya adjusted the focus slightly, taking in the distant star that had produced this remarkable being standing beside her. "Do you miss it?" "Sometimes," Zara admitted. "Our languages had different conceptions of home. In Proxima, the word also carries connotations of origin and belonging." She paused. "But home isn't always where we begin."